Hello everyone, VJose32 back again, and yes, I do have another review for you. And let me just say that this year I was a little bit disappointed by the Black Friday, Thanksgiving Thursday releases. I mean, Fury 11 had one deck, which we'll get to in a minute, that was just a recolor of a previous version. And they only started their holiday spin to win wheel at the beginning of December instead of at that time, which is kind of weird. Illusionist, they just released their new Black Friday renewal pretty much, and I think they released Pyro, I'm not sure, but there was no new decks. But they had already done the Prohibition set like a week and a half before that, which was good, and that was probably the best one out of everything. Dan and Dave, they released one deck which they didn't even do themselves. It was done by a magician that they're associated with for his wedding. And then they also had, they had a new trick or a new DVD or whatever. They also decided to sell the Bicycle Frontier decks and whatnot. And Conjuring Arts released a new Zen deck, which is fine, but there's nothing overly. I haven't received it yet. I'm still waiting for it as the recording of this video, but it's just, standard faces pretty much, so nothing extraordinary. Who else is there? David Blaine failed to release anything whatsoever, though apparently it's coming soon, as usual. And then he decided to send out some free red gator backs to various Twitter followers of his, signed ones or unsigned, whatever they wanted. And that's not really cool. Why don't you just sell them? You said you were going to sell them, and now you're just sending them out to people. You don't even tell people what's going on. But anyways, let's move on. This was Fury 11's big release for Black Friday, and usually, we're talking about blackjack, or we're talking about Jack Sellers decks, or we're talking about new Smoke and Mirror decks, or we're talking about whatever, but this year was really disappointing, in my opinion. But this is what Fury 11 released. It is a new Rarebit, and it is really just a recolor of the original Rarebit, which I don't have on me at the moment, but basically the colors were a kind of a green color, really, almost a neon green. This one is the copper Rarebit. It's a copper color, almost a gold. Everything is the same. This is the front of the box, which has the back design on it. So we'll get into more in a bit. On the side, it says made in the USA. Whoops, I apologize. There you go. On the other side, it says the same thing. The top, it says something under the seal, but I don't know what. Bottom, barcode. USB-C info says it's produced and distributed by Fury 11, designed by Jay Fletcher, and made by USB-C. And you see a Fury 11 logo, and you see a JF for Jay Fletcher. And there's a barcode. I don't know if I mentioned that. And the back does not have the back design on it. It says Rarebit, playing cards, and you got all 4 pips. And some nice embossing all the way around in gold foil, including the pips and Rarebit, but not the playing cards. And this thicker part here. And same on the front, there's some embossing and foil. Lots of foil on the box, really. Seal, custom stamp seal that says Rarebit. And CHS USA on the bottom, which I think stands for Charleston or whatever it's from. Get into that a bit. Here on the flap it says 474 King Street, Charleston, South Carolina. That's what the CHS would stand for, in my opinion. And yeah, you know, let's use that for that King Street trick. That what is that? Is that the Bill and Malone trick? Whatever. So inside you get an ad card. The Rarebit is an actual restaurant, and it says the Rarebit, 474 King Street, Charleston, South Carolina. The Rarebit.com on the bottom, and you see, I guess, the front of the building. It must be a pretty fancy restaurant to be producing a deck of cards through the USB-C and giving them free with orders of $100 or more. At least they did that with the original. And here's the back design. It's the same as the previous one. In my opinion, this is a hell of a lot better. I like the colors. It's a lot better. The previous one was just this weird green color that I don't know why they used it, but it's kind of weird. And it does say here in the middle, made in USA. You see a glass with ice cubes and a straw. You see a bunny jumping down here. And you see a 474 in the crown for 474 Green Street. And an R for Rarebit on the top and bottom. Mirror imaged. You do get a double backer because most people eating at a restaurant are going to have a big use for a double backer. And inside you get a couple of jokers. They're bunny rabbits running by, jumping across, and there's a J on his shirt. Joker in the two corners. And it says the Joker above him. A couple of stars as well. Something. The other one is exactly the same. You will see that there is metallic inks on them, which is nice. A nice touch, I do like that. Ace of Spades, simple, reminds me a bit of the Monarchs one. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the previous review. And you see this, I guess that's a carrot or a dagger or something that goes down. It says CHS USA. There's an arrow going through. Actually, it could be like a Weather station with the arrow on top, but I don't know. Then there's a glass of ice cubes again, and the 474 with the crown. Nice, simple, some metallic inks. Court cards, the same as the previous one, except they got the copper colors with metallic inks and grays. They are bunnies. I don't know. This restaurant must sell a lot of bunnies to be featuring a lot of bunnies on the deck. Some customization on the pips and the indexes as well. One thing I'm noticing at this deck, and a lot of recent decks I reviewed, is the red pips seem awfully orange lately. I don't know. I mean, compare that to my red there. It's pretty orange. But the court cards themselves are the same as the previous deck, as are the number cards and the ace, spades, and the jokers. Everything is identical to the previous deck, except it's got a different color. There's still metallic inks in the last deck as well. And the only other thing is, the last deck was pretty rare. Well, I wouldn't say rare, but they did not sell them, or not as many. I think they were giving them away when you spent a certain amount of money. This one, they actually offer you. You can actually buy them. So it tells me that the other one is, at the very least, harder to find and probably a little more rarer. And it's a USB-C deck, bicycle stock. There it goes, Infinus type of a thing. A little clumpiness, but is what it is. So I mean, it is custom. If you got the last one, it's just a color change. And it's probably not as rare as the last one. In fact, I think they just sold out the other day. And oddly enough, Pier 11 is actually promoting what appears to be another deck called Contraband. We'll find out more, I guess, in the near future. But anyways, that is the Rarebit Comper Edition. Nothing new, really. Just a different color. And I will see you next time. Like I said, though, I do believe this color is a lot better. It's more of a gold color, and it fits a lot better, especially on the box. I will see you next time with more reviews.